I don't tend to be in this country. This country is rubbish. No. People are just pretending.
Years, so they're being forced to rent. It's eating up 50% of their income.
Are we really struggling in this economy, or is everything a facade?
We try to live within our means. We truly do. It's like no matter how much you don't go out to eat, no matter how much you don't spend money, you're still going to be broke. Why? Because that is the world that we live in.
What up, guys? How y'all doing? First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for everyone who's been watching the channel, watching the videos, liking them, sharing them, and subscribing. I really appreciate it. You know, this is a start for the channel and we're hoping to grow. And I appreciate all the comments. I'm going to start featuring them in the next videos. I had to pre-record the others, so I didn't have much time. But in today, we're actually going to be talking about how people are struggling in this economy.
We got to cut the Millennials and Gen Z some slack because this isn't ordinary. They are moving the goalposts so quickly on the middle class because of the housing. Even that slide you just brought up, someone making $77,000 cannot qualify for a $400,000.
Someone was making $22,000 in 1980. The average home prices was $47,000. A little over double, but they're still able to afford it. Especially if you have like your wife and your husband making money, then you're able to afford it.
$1,000 home. That's the first time that's ever happened in the past 50 years. So they're being forced to rent. It's eating up 50% of their income.
50+% say we're in a recession. 58% say the economy is getting worse. It's not. By all objective measures, it's getting better. People keep feeling worse.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What is he talking about? What is... Bro, you can't be speaking for us. You cannot be speaking for us. Of course, you and your generation with the gray hair, obviously you're all enjoying the economy because everything's been climbing. But for us, our generation, we stepped in at a time where things were being hit the worst. Oh my God. And now here he's telling us like this is the best economy he's ever... Come on. You can't be our spokesman.
On the age, because I think we're kind of living in two separate economies,
right,
if you will. Because if you're somebody who's over 60 years old, if you have a $400,000 home and you have just property taxes and homeowner insurance for $600 a month, that is significantly better than a millennial or Gen Z or spending $2,500 for rent or $3,600 for a mortgage. So I think people under 40 are really feeling the stress about the economy, saying it's not good because housing's up, college is up, daycare is through the roof. But I think people over 60 who sit back and go, my 401k is looking good, my house went up 40%, the economy's doing well, groceries are high, but we can deal. So I think it just depends on the age because the millennials and Gen Zs are the ones really struggling.
To be honest with you, even look at those figures here. Imagine you spending more than half of your money towards rent. You can't afford to have kids. And even if you had kids, daycare is not cheap. And you have to have a 2-person income to be able to sustain that living. It's just that things are just not keeping up in pace with the cost of living. Houses are just climbing through the roof. Because boomers are enjoying it. No offense, but you're all enjoying it too much. And us guys coming underneath there, we're coming in, trying to buy a house. We have to even get like extra help from either family. Maybe you get perhaps a loan, but that's just increasing more debt.
Are we really struggling in this economy, or is everything a facade? I just can't help but wonder to notice that everywhere I go, packed to the brim. Restaurants are packed. Cafes with $12 lattes, huge lines. Erewhon with $20-something smoothies, huge lines. Grocery stores packed. The other day, I called a bunch of nail salons just to get a basic-ass pedicure. All packed, all busy. They had no availability to squeeze in a 30-minute basic pedicure. And I'm thinking, I thought we were near a recession. I thought the economy is bad. I thought people were struggling with groceries and bills. Yet everywhere I go, restaurants, bars, cafes, packed to the brim. Malls, packed. Target, go to Walmart, everyone.
Okay, so basically, yes, people are overspending in a time like this. There was an article that was released recently, not recently, but I would say it came out last year. And it was talking about how even during times of inflation, people would be spending. In fact, it was talking specifically about America. Look here, despite high inflation, Americans are spending like crazy, and it's kind of puzzling. It went through the whole aspect of like people were just essentially borrowing from their credit card to pay it off later when the economy start to, reverse. I think it's not even an American thing. I think just generally with people, we don't have an income problem. We have a spending problem. We think that the more money we make, the more we should start spending because we should keep up with that lifestyle. But in fact, it should be the entire opposite. You know, the more money you make, the less you start spending. That's at least the mentality people should be having. But it's the entire opposite. Everyone wants to flex. Everyone wants to show, hey, I'm doing better than you. Or they want to keep up with the Joneses. It's sad, but this is just what's happening around the world.
So this is not to be pessimistic. I'm just a realist. But do not feel bad for doing what you have to do in this economy. I've been seeing people post about how they had to give up their new car or how they had to go back to a 9 to 5 after doing entrepreneurship, move back in with their parents. And I know that it sucks. I just wanted to stress to you that it's not your fault. It's really the economy. As a millennial who lived through pre-pandemic and then now, it was totally different. Yes, I was able to pay off my car, but my car note was $300 a month. It was only $16,000 for a brand new car at that time. You can't find a brand new car for that price anywhere. Another thing too, when I was paying rent, it was $800 back in 2017, 2018. And that was for a 3-bedroom. That same apartment right now is $1,400 a month for a 1-bedroom. House prices, I could literally write an essay. I could write a book. The interest rates, of course, were way lower, but the house prices were not crazy. I bought my house for $165,000. The houses in my neighborhood right now are going for almost $300K, which is crazy. I say all that to say you can't take accountability for things that are just simply not your fault.
You see, what is that? You see how real estate just more than doubled, but then people's incomes ain't. In fact, people in the comments are saying on this video like, hey, making the most money I've ever have, and it feels like making less than I was in 2020, and it's so crazy. Which is crazy, but that's how inflation works. That's how a tough economy works. Another person says there should be a cap on rent. I'm seriously thinking about moving back in with my parents. Unfortunately, there's no rent control depending on where you live. And most times people are willing to just, charge you a particular price so that they can able to keep up with their mortgage and make a little cash on the side. That's just how landlords sometimes work. I think it's much more wise to stay with your family. At least stack up some cash with them. Don't pay rent, you don't have to pay for food, and then you stack up that money for at least 3 years, I would say. Once you have a good money cushion in the back, don't think about buying a car. Don't think about moving into an expensive apartment. No. Think about, okay, what is the most cheapest car I can get, but yet reliable? And what is a nice apartment I can get, but cheap? Still within the budget. Move like you're broke, but stack your money like you're rich, you know?
Do you think you're staying until 65?
I don't intend to be here in the next year.
There you go.
I don't intend to be in this country. This country is rubbish. No. People are just pretending.
Wait. You can't be rich in the UK anymore. We're working just to pay bills. Oof.
No. You're working literally to pay your bills. And it wasn't like that years ago. So when people say, oh, but you're meant to work. Yes, you're meant to work. But when I was looking at some stats, in 1985, the average house price in the UK was £29,000. The average salary was £14,000. Look at this. The average salary was £14,000 in 1985, and the average home was 29 grand. That was just double. The average salary now in the UK is what?
You and your woman could pay that in 4 years.
The average salary now in the UK is roughly about 30 odd K. The average property price in the UK now is 240 something for a house. It's 10 times nearly. It wasn't like that. Meant to be on right now, technically, is if the average is 240, if we was to keep with the level or the ratio back then, we should be on about 100K.
Yeah.
If the average was 100K, who would be stressed right now?
No one. We should on 140K.
We're finished. This country, we're working just to pay bills.
Bro.
This country's finished. Okay. Do you live by yourself?
No, I live with my mum.
Okay. Look at what you earn now as a 24-year-old. One would argue and say you earn a decent wage for your age, for what you do.
Yeah.
Just imagine you stepped out your mum's house and now you jumped into my shoes.
Yeah.
Of just say you're paying 30 and 50 or even paying 1,200.
Yeah.
You calculate all of your expenses now. What would you have left?
I'd probably break even and just be on zero.
You're working full time.
More than full time.
I didn't know the average wage in the UK was 30K. I understand the UK pound is strong, but Jesus. And I thought we had it bad here in Canada, but hey, compared to the UK, we're blessed. I mean, at some point I understand, like, yeah, you're just living to pay bills. But life should not be like that. Because I don't want to be living to be paying my bills for the rest of my life. Just so that the economy can be the way it is, and then my life is dwindled. No kids, no family, no retirement. What's the point of living? Look at someone who said this. For anyone who moves abroad, there's a leaver's tax now. You see, now countries are trying to put these taxes just to avoid people from leaving. They're like, hey, you're trying to look for a better life? Well, okay, wait, hold up. You have to pay us first. You have to pay us for leaving.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
For example, so here's how much is the exit tax? Okay, as explained before, the exit tax is calculated over the capital gains you would have earned on selling all your assets before leaving. These net capital gains can be taxed as high as 23%. Let's use an example. Okay, imagine you're a Canadian-born citizen and you've purchased a condo in Toronto in your 20s for 100,000 Canadian. In a few months, before your 30th birthday, you decide to follow your heart and take a leap of faith and move to Italy. However, to not burn all the bridges behind you in case your new Dolce Vita life turns out a little less dolce than expected, you decide not to sell your condo but instead rent it out. This condo is now worth 200,000. If you become a non-resident of Canada, you will be deemed to have sold the condo and will need to report a taxable capital gain of 50,000, a half of the 100,000 gain on your income tax return, and pay exit tax of up to 25,000 depending on which state you're in and which progressive tax rate applies, even though you haven't sold the property.
Jesus is Lord!
50K and then an additional 25K, $75,000 just to walk away from that, just to be like, okay, even though I've not sold the property.
So we don't have the capacity.
Literally, how are y'all making it? Because little backstory, I decided back in January that I was going to monetize on this app. Every dollar I made, no matter how big, how small, was going to go to a savings account, and that was going to be money for a down payment on our house. Because if you don't know, me, my husband, and our 2 kids are living with my parents. Spoiler alert, that's not happening. We're having to take that money I'm making and use it to get by until the next week, on top of my husband's income. My husband's making the most money he's ever made, and this is the brokest we've ever been. Make it make sense. I'm not a bougie bitch. I might get my lashes done, but my friends do my hair. I don't get my nails done. Like, I'm really not that high maintenance. We try to live within our means. We truly do. It's like no matter how much you don't go out to eat, no matter how much you don't spend money, you're still gonna be broke. Why? Because that is the world that we live in. So I know I'm not as educated as I should be when it comes to voting. All I know is that shit was a lot better 4 years ago. I could afford to breathe and I had my own house. Right now, nobody can afford housing. Nobody can afford food. And if you can, congratulations, because you're far and few. So please, for the love of God, take that into consideration come November and make
the most money I've ever made and still the brokest. That's the theme here. I don't know how they finessed us, but dang, we are definitely coming to a situation where we're looking at each other and like, everyone's just like this. The John Travolta meme. Looking like, yo, how are people doing it? How are you making money? How are you making money? And yet some people low-key, they're over there and they're like, yo, come buy my course. Come buy my books. I'll show you how to make money. You know, just a simple deposit of $500 and I'll show you how to make money. Yes, just the blind leading the blind. But if you enjoyed the video, thank you. Like, comment, and subscribe. And check out some of the other videos as well. Until the next one, peace.